Another late night live. It's only a quarter to 11, so it ain't too late. Come on in here, y'all. Come on in here. We about to talk it out. What's up, Senator? Iran versus the United States. What's this about? The shit just got kicked off, boy. What's up, Hanson? Hassan, Tanya, Red 6, Super Michael J, Darkstar. Appreciate all y'all. DJ Lundy, Noah Randall. He said, so what for Trump being America first? Right. If you don't give a fuck about, if you don't give a fuck about America, and that other guy, the Prime Minister of Israel, he's gone. He's always been wild. He's always been wild, but he's gone to a whole nother level. We're gonna refer to him as Yahoo Chat. That's what we're gonna refer to the president, the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu Chat. We're gonna call him Yahoo Chat or Yahoo Mail. That dude Yahoo Chat, man. Yahoo Mail. This all started with a preemptive strike. Preemptive strike. That's some shit that got popularized under President Bush. Dark Star. I'm not about to say that, dog. You trying to get my YouTube channel banned. I'm trying not to get my YouTube channel banned, Dark Star. Chill. That nigga says Satan. But what's happening right now, the blowback both Israel and the United States is going to get, neither leader is going to be alive to see. And that's what is so, bothersome about this. They're doing things that when it come back, like, is Iran in position to do, what's up, Brazil? Is Iran in position to give equal damage to the United States and Israel now? Probably not. Will they be in 10 years? Probably so. And in 10 years, both Trump and Yahoo Chat are going to be dead. They're going to be old. Well, evil people live for a long time. So Yahoo Chat might still be alive in 10 years, but he probably won't be running the country. Yeah, Yahoo Chat is evil, so he'll probably still be alive. Evil people be living. How long did Kissinger live? Kissinger died, what, at 99? Some shit like that? Henry Kissinger died like in 99. Boy, this shit right here. This shit right here. Hanger 1. Woo. This is some shit right here. This is some hot shit. That's it. But it's some vodka y'all need to try. The Mandarin Blossom Hanger 1 vodka. Boy. What's up, Mister? What's up, Lori Brown? Good seeing y'all. So, Trump and Yahoo Chat trying to line us up. Let's go into the history right here. Let's go into the history. The United States, and not just the United States, let's go and say Western powers. Do you mind if we do a little bit of history right now? Somebody said, what about the tariffs? Stay focused on the topic. I talked about tariffs on another one. Tariffs worked. Let's stay focused on this topic. We're talking about Iran versus the Western powers. Because whenever you see the United States, Israel, that includes Britain, that includes all of Western Europe. Israel was created as a state by Western Europe because Western Europe has been wanting that quote unquote Middle Eastern land. There's no such thing as the Middle East. All of that is still North Africa. That's all part of Africa. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Israel. That's all Africa. There's no Middle East. These places created the Middle East. The Bush family, Prescott, the Bushes, they were very monumental in creating this thing we call the Middle East. And I don't have all my years lined up. I just know the history. So that's what that was, and it was Western powers that divided it up. No, damn, that's different. Comparing LA and Mexico and Africa and Middle East are two different things. Mexico is still a European construct. This place wasn't called Mexico by the natives. Mexico, Spanish, is still Europe. Before the destruction of the Ottoman Empire in World War I, that was still North Africa. It was World War I that people always say what happened with World War I. The purpose of World War I, big picture, was to destroy for good the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire controlled the Mediterranean, what we now, the West Bank in Northern Africa, from basically the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. A little after that, for a while, that was the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire controlled the trade routes, and you got to understand the Mediterranean Sea is very, 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 very important to trade. So they destroyed the Ottoman Empire in World War I. And they thought they had a European gentleman's agreement, but Europeans can't get along. They're ghetto as fuck. They're ratchet. All they want to do is fight. So after destroying the Ottoman Empire in World War I, you had Germany went from being on the United States side to against it. People jumped. Russia was on the same side. People jumped sides because they needed to control the spoils. If you think this information is useless, then get the fuck out of here. It's that simple. So back to what we're talking about. So the Ottoman Empire was destroyed, and these Europeans couldn't figure out what to do with that land. Hitler was getting a little bit too powerful in his control of the land of the former Ottoman Empire. So the Western powers, because they can't get along, because Europeans are ghetto as fuck, they always want to fight. They don't know anything about no fucking peace. They had World War II. I'm gonna close this. They had World War II. So the winner of World War II were the ones who were going to control how that land that they seized from the former Ottoman Empire, World War II went into who controls that plot of land. And everybody, and of course, everything has multiple purposes. I don't want nobody coming in saying, well, it was for oil, it was for this. That too. The white supremacists don't do shit for one reason. A lot of you niggas be over here arguing and shit. No, it was that reason. No, it was this reason. It's a multi-pronged approach. So they, this nigga said Hitler breakdancing with alien technology. That was funny. So, appreciate that, Kevin. Yeah, people like coming in for attention. I don't think it's the right thing we need to be talking about. Then leave. No disrespect. I'm not gonna. Every subject I talk about ain't gonna be for everybody. I talk about a lot of different shit. Some subjects gonna have a lot of views. Some ain't gonna have no views. That's cool. But one thing I don't want is to see somebody just sit here and crying about it. Anyway, so they go and have World War II, and then part of the United States' win, because remember, Hitler had a reason he was trying to stomp out the Netanyahus. No, I'm not high. I ain't even smoked yet. Hitler had a reason he was trying to stomp out the Yahoo Chats people. Taxes, inflation, all kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that story because the Yahoo Chat people, they control all this media shit. And I ain't trying to get my channel shut down. So you niggas can study that on your own. Y'all can study that on your own because I'm on their platform, so I'm going to abide by their rules when it comes into the details of that part of the story. But Hitler, let's just say Hitler had his reasons. I don't agree with what he did. I don't agree with genocide of anybody. But nobody cries for black people, so whatever. So Hitler, they do what they do. They get Hitler up out of there. And the next step was to establish a state in Israel, in Palestine. They part of beating the Ottoman Empire is now you control how that land is divided up. You control now how that land is divided up. The Bush family, George Herbert Walker and all those guys, they established a country called Kuwait so they can control the export of oil. That was the Prescott Bush family. They controlled Kuwait. And then they established Israel in 1940. Was it, chat room, help my years, is it 1948 when they established Israel? I think it was 1948. You have to ask yourself, what was the reason for establishing Israel? Was it for religion? Or was it for control of the Mediterranean Sea and the trade routes, the Silk Road? Remember, the Chinese Silk Road ended in Israel. Understand this, all history is a current event, okay? We're talking history because everything we see play out in front of us today is an end result of history. Your life, what job you have, is an end result of your history. Did you go to jail or did you go to college? Did you go to vocation school or did you go to medical school? That history dictates where you are right now. If you're a doctor, it's because you have a history of going to medical school. If you're an iron worker, it's because you have a history of going to vocation school. If you're always a person that's always late, it's probably because you have a history of being in a family environment that doesn't value time. If your family didn't value time growing up and everything and teach you the concept of being on time and responsibility of being on time when you were in your history, you're probably somebody that currently to this day have a hard time getting anywhere on time. That's why history matters, unlike what that person was saying in here earlier. History tells you why today is happening the way today is happening, okay? So that's history. So that's why we talk about the history. And that's why I was so rude to that person that was in the chat earlier trying to get attention on the history topic. What's up, man? You gotta understand history to know where you are right now. And so they go through, it's only his story if you read it on a surface level, okay? If you understand how to read history from multiple points of views and also multiple languages, it becomes your story. It's only his story if you want to read his word. One person. Read multiple people. So, and me reading now with translation services, you can read history in multiple languages now. That's what I do. I be reading shit, so read your history. And so now we see where we are. So they established Israel, and the purpose for establishing Israel is to control the old Silk Road. When everywhere from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, when any of that wants to get down out, it has to go through the Mediterranean Sea. Now you control the Mediterranean Sea. And not only do you control the Mediterranean Sea, when you look at some of the old plans, even before Kissinger's part of it, but even Kissinger came in later, pre-Kissinger. You see America and Western powers, again, when I say America, that's England, that's France, that's, now Germany. It wasn't Germany before. But as England, France, Germany, the Netherlands, as all of those Western European countries, they always talked about getting Iraq, getting Iran, Afghanistan. If you were around when 9/11 happened, when Bush went after Iraq and Afghanistan, remember, Saudi Arabia was who hit the United States, but he went after Iraq and Afghanistan. That's because America wants control of that land. That's one of the breadbaskets of civilization. That's old school knowledge. That's the Tigris and the Euphrates River. That's one of the early places in modern human history is that area. And Iran is Persia. General Wesley Clark Hitler is right. So you get that going on. They've been saying, I remember when Bush had the first Iraq war. Oh, fuck. Somebody got some fucked up batteries. Brakes. I remember when the first Iraq war hit, Bush was saying that, people were saying that why would you go after Iraq? Because Iran is a bigger issue, and Iraq kind of keeps Iran in place. Well, both were our friends. What happened was when the oil crisis happened in the 70s, Iran in 77, 78 decided to go its own path and depart from what the Western powers, basically stop being the Western powers' bitch. And so the United States set up a proxy war between Iran and Iraq. And the United States and Western powers backed Iraq. That's why you can look up and see Saddam Hussein at the White House with President Bush. With Vice President Bush, I should say. When Bush was a vice president, you can see pictures of Saddam Hussein with Vice President Bush because Iraq, just like Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, was used in a proxy war. But Saddam Hussein against Iran and bin Laden against Russia. Because at the same time, 77 through 87, you had the Russia versus Afghanistan war, and you had the Iraq versus Iran war, all going on late 70s to the 80s, all of it masterminded by Western powers. Y'all follow me? What a flame. Okay, cool. So that's the larger context. That's the context right there. And Iran, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know every reason why, but one thing about this white supremacists, they want to control every piece of earth that they can control that has something under resources that they can use. And of course, Iran has oil, but it's deeper than oil. Iran, that's Persia. Persia still got that knowledge. They still got the information. They still got the knowledge. And they don't buy the United States' bullshit. But I don't like what they're doing. One of my best friends in middle school, and sometimes he's in this chat. He comes in the chat very rarely, because he's very, very rarely even on YouTube. I'd be surprised when I see him in the chat. We got cool again through Facebook about 10 years ago. One of my best friends from middle school was someone from Iran named Amir. And we got the same birthday. So we literally had the same birthday, same year and everything. I gotta hit him up and say, wish him happy birthday. But one of my best friends from 6th and 7th grade, 8th grade, Overripe Middle School, was someone from Iran named Amir. And this is mid-90s. We used to call Amir Vlade Divac when we hoop. If you're from LA, y'all remember Vlade? He'd be like, man, Vlade is from Yugoslavia. Man, we niggas from South Central. We don't know the difference between a fucking Iranian and a Yugoslavian and a Mexican. It's all the same when you a 12-year-old nigga from LA. And we call him Vlade. We call that nigga Drazen Petrovic. He used to get mad. But shit, I'm a nigga from LA. A Mexican, a Persian, an Iranian, nigga. They all the same to us. And I lost. Amir was supposed to leave Overripe, and he graduated Overripe with us. He was supposed to come to Westchester High with us. And he didn't come. Now, this is the mid-90s, before social media, you know? This is the mid-90s. So I lost contact with Amir for 20-some odd years. We get back in contact through Facebook. And I asked him, I was like, man, how was it during 9/11, you being from Iran? And I started asking him a whole bunch of questions about Iran. Like growing up, he was like, you know what? We thought it was crazy that the United States was coming for us, because growing up in Iran, because he had to go, he went back to Iran for high school. And he was like, in the 90s, man, we love the United States. He was like, in Iran in the 90s, Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan were the biggest stars in Iran. Like, Iran loved Earth and Fire. He said Iran loved America. We didn't understand what was going on. So when 9/11 hit and they put Iran on a terrorist list and started all them economic sanctions against Iran, he was like, it was weird because we love the United States. We love the United States. And I'm interested to hear what he has to say now. I'm going to probably hit him up tomorrow to see what's going on. Because he said that, like, when the shit changed, like, the United States basically went from having the Iranian citizens as people who were fond of the United States to post 9/11 being hostile towards the United States. But that didn't happen until the United States started all these wars and put Iran on his hit list. And if you go look at the map, you see Iraq is on one side of Iran, Afghanistan's on the another, and then just to the south is Saudi Arabia and Dubai. So the United States is trying to isolate Iran. The United States has been trying to isolate Iran for now, actively, for 20 years now. What we see is an extension of what they reminded us of, Kissinger reminded us of after 9/11, when they put Iran on the terrorist watch list and not one person dealing with Iran had anything to do with 9/11. And I mean nothing to do with 9/11. And so Iran, we're dealing with this shit. Yeah, we've been beefing with Iran since the fall of the Ayatollah in 77. The Ayatollah, the Shah. The Shah of Iran. Because I remember my dad driving me by the Shah's house in Beverly Hills back when I was a kid. The house that he used to have here in Beverly Hills. And the crazy part about it is, when you go to neighborhoods like in LA, if you go to Beverly Hills is like mostly Jewish and Iranian. Go figure, like Persians. Beverly Hills is Persian like a motherfucker. It's more Jews there, but it's a lot of it's more Persians in Beverly Hills than it is niggas. Put it like that. Niggas, Mexicans, and Asians combined. There's more Persians in Beverly Hills than black folks, Mexicans, and Asians combined. Put it like that. And so now we have this going on right now with this strike. And we got to remember, the reason why Israel was put there by Western powers was for the Western powers to control. You want Western powers to control that area of land. No, Armenians are in Glendale. The Armenians ain't got as much money as the Persians out here. They got a lot of money, but the Persians got more money out here. Yeah, the Shahs of Sunset. Do y'all know one of my homegirls from middle school and high school was on Shahs of Sunset? Nessa, y'all remember Gonessa? Whoever used to watch the show I didn't even watch the show. I just like, oh, hold on, Gonessa's on that? That's crazy. But on that show, Shahs of Sunset, I think she went by Nessa, but her whole name was Gonessa. And Gonessa used to fight. We was an all black school. It was like my middle school was like 95% black. And Gonessa used to get more fights than mostly all the black girls. Nessa she used to always be getting in fights. I think she got kicked out. That's why she didn't go to Westchester. But she was always getting in fights. You're like, God damn, Gonessa got in another fight? Shit. Yeah, Gigi, that's what they call her. I think they called her Gigi. Yeah, we used to go to middle school. I used to go to middle school with her. And, y'all know Jeannie Aiko, her older sister. We all were in the same middle school. Those like the few non-black people. Janae Aiko, well, they're mixed. But Janae Aiko's big sister and Gonessa, my homeboy Amir. There's only a handful of non-black people. Yeah, she little. But she used to fight. She was hella cool with my wife. I kind of knew her, but she was hella cool with my wife. So we got to remember, all history is a current event. And a lot of what Trump is doing right now, we got to remember in moments like this, and this is not making an excuse for Trump, because Trump's a whole ass nigga. But presidents don't control stuff like this, y'all. The people who choose the presidents, these kind of calls, these war calls and stuff like that, if you go and look up the history of war, especially the last 150 years, it's families that fund countries to go to war. It was families that were funding World War I and World War II. Very wealthy, powerful families fund these wars, and they get countries to do their bidding. So although I'll never miss an opportunity to shit on Donald Trump because I don't like him, Bush, whether it be Trump, Bush, Clinton, JFK, Lyndon B. Johnson, Eisenhower, Roosevelt, McKinley, presidents don't make that call. Y'all come to the channel for the real. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's not about who I like or don't like. Cause there's gonna be somebody coming in and saying, you just like Trump. Man, fuck Trump and fuck you if you think that. And the reason why I can say that confidently is because when you study history, things like the Marshall Plan, when you look in retrospect, Kenneth Milo, appreciate the super chat. Yeah, what would have happened if Democrats are in power? Because presidents don't make that call. But when you look back on history, you look back and you find, oh, this family paid the debts. Hold on, you mean to tell me the United States or Great Britain or France, you name the country, Germany, they had to pay this family back after a war? So that's when you use your logic. If a country had to pay a wealthy family back after a war, then can you logically conceive that maybe it was that family's idea that the war happened? And why do these families keep coming up in these wartime scenarios, whether you're talking about Vietnam, World War II, Korea? Why are there always resources attached? And why is it when the war is done, these countries owe these families money? So that's what happened. Belt to ass is not really necessarily about what family is wrong, because like it's the same families that do. It's the same old family. It's like at the end of the day, I can't do nothing about it. I can't fix it. Can't change it. You know. Yo, real quick. Side note. That's my neighbor. Y'all know how you get. I don't know if y'all not in California. Have you ever heard of ebony alerts or amber alerts when a child gets kidnapped? That car you just heard driving by. I got an ebony alert on my phone last week. I was like, hold on. Man, my wife sent me the photo today. It was her daughter. I was like, yo. And they found the YNs that did it. Ended up being some YNs. What's upset in the West? It ended up being some YNs in his neighborhood, and they found her. But anyway, that's just a quick little side note. Cause like last night, I was like, hold on, my neighbor told me. I was like, what? So I told my wife and looked it up. I was like, oh, yo, that was her daughter. Yeah, yeah, she's okay. She's alive. It was some YN she was dating. It was some little YN she was fucking with. Well, anyway, so that's what we're talking about when it comes to this wartime scenario. We're dealing with people who want to control resources, and they use countries to fight their battles. Nah, she didn't run away. The girl was kidnapped. By some people she thought she was cool with. So, what's up, Marlon? Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, built to ass proxy wars. These are proxy wars. These are proxy wars. And so, whatever decision Trump decided tonight, that wasn't his call. Although I'm 100,000% down with blaming him. I don't care. Fuck him. If you take the seat, if you go ahead, you run. If you get the glory from the seat, you get the blame too. So if you can get the glory for being president, if you choose to run, if you choose to do all that work, and you choose to be the pawn, if you choose to be a pawn, it's like that. It's like the movie Sinners. You gotta let the devil in. If you choose to be a pawn, yeah, I know it's wealthy families behind this. I know this isn't Trump's call, but he chose to be the pawn. So fuck him. He can deal with the consequences. So what happens next? What happens next? It's going to be pretty calm. I don't think you're not going to see Iran respond to the United States right away. Look for things to explode in the fall. Russia probably gets involved. Like, basically, Trump can scrap any kind of peace he had, any kind of peace Trump thought he was going to bring to the whole Ukraine-Russia situation. It's not going to happen. Russia's going to make sure that it takes Kyiv back and gets that access to the Black Sea. Like, it's all about access to trade routes, access to water. And Ukraine is a very critical point in trade. And if the United States is going to make a move to get into Iran, that's another country that it can use. That's one more step closer to really surrounding Russia and isolating Russia. Street Nasty Entertainment, that's a great fucking question. Yeah, that's now on the table. Street Nasty Entertainment asks, do you think China will take Taiwan? Now, Taiwan is on the table. Because at some point, China's going to take Taiwan at some point. It's only a matter of time. Will China take Taiwan this year, or will China take Taiwan in 15 years? I don't know. But sometime in the next 10 to 15 years, China's going to take Taiwan. And that's why and this is where I give Trump credit. This is Trump cracking the whip on businesses. Businesses in America have had a free ride since the 70s. They've been able to go to China, Taiwan, and Singapore, and Hong Kong, and all of these places to get basically free labor and massive profits. And then Clinton with NAFTA, creating that next to free labor in Mexico. Trump is rolling back 60 years, 50 years of American businesses getting a free ride. That's what these tariffs are about. Remember that. That's what the tariffs are about. What's up, infamous Eli? The tariffs were about bringing businesses back home to America because Taiwan controls the chips. And remember, let's go back to 2021, y'all. Y'all remember just after the pandemic, when chips became hard to get, the price of cars went up, the PlayStations became rare, computers. You saw what the pandemic did to chip manufacturing. And it took the world, what, about a year to catch up? Thank God I got my car when I did, because I got my car. When I got my car I have now, I got it in 2021, brand new. And it was the only car left. I mean, it was like the last car that they sold at sticker price. Because I had a hookup. Had I gotten that car a month prior, I could have probably gotten it about 5,000 below sticker. And after I got my car, everything went up because of the chip thing. Y'all remember what happened with the chips? Well, Taiwan controls all the chips. What happens if China takes Taiwan and gains control of all the chips? What happens to America? What happens to Western Europe? What happens to the world if China controls the distribution of chips? We're fucked. So we got to get the chip manufacturing back to America. Bush tried it. I mean, not Bush. Biden tried it through, that chip act, giving companies a bunch of money to bring their chip manufacturing here in America. Trump said, "Nah, fuck that. Tariffs." Yeah, semiconductors too. Yeah. That's where these tariffs that Trump is doing are great moves. I don't care nobody. Fuck the media never tells you what's right, like what's good for us as a people. Because you gotta remember, it's the wealthy elite that control the media. And the wealthy elite wants to keep this free ride with labor across the planet so that they don't have to pay Americans. America has minimum wage. America has labor laws, the right to sue. I could either do that or I could set up a factory in China or India where they have no fucking labor laws and work people 16 hours a day and pay them next to nothing. So those same sponsors you see on commercials, they're the people who influence the media. All right? Don't think that what you're getting from the news is pure. The sponsors tell the media what to do and how to cover things. So these tariffs are not something these major corporations want. So if you at CNN, you at MSNBC, you at CNN or Fox, it's the same handful of companies that are advertising on all of these networks. If you want to keep getting these ad dollars, this is how you're going to cover the story. You dig? If you want these advertising dollars, this is how you're going to cover the story. And so they have us saying, no tariffs this, no tariffs that. Corporations know good and the hell well people aren't going to be there's a cap on what people can spend because there's a cap on what we make. So we don't have to worry about stuff going. They said if minimum wage goes up, you're going to be paying $20 for a Big Mac. No, I'll just eat at home. I don't have to get a fucking Big Mac. I don't have. And you see what's been happening with fast food. People are going back to eating at home. When it comes to the price of goods, you saw that the price of goods went up in January, February. What happened? Prices for eggs and everything is right back down to normal because people could only spend so much money. So that begs the next question. Where does the difference come from? If corporations got to now pay more for labor, but the consumer could only pay up to this amount for that product, where does the cut come? The cut comes in these corporate profits. These corporate profits. Making a profit, for every dollar they spend, they're making 1,000 in profit. Well, now, for every dollar they spend, they only gonna have to make 700 in profit. They still gonna make profit. But that's where the cut comes. And they don't wanna take that cut. So they gotta tell you they're gonna put it on you and scare you about these tariffs. The cut comes from the profit. It's only gonna affect you short term. See how that works? You see how that works? So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have all the answers. I don't know all the reasons they're having this war. I don't know all of the history. I don't know every single detail. But I do have a fairly good understanding of the big picture of what's going on. And what we're speaking to right now is the big picture. We're speaking to the big picture. And I don't want nobody coming in saying this is a distraction. Shut up. You ever notice every time we have these kind of talks, someone's saying, this is a distraction. Distraction from what? People are already distracted. People are fucking on their phone playing Words with Friends and Capture the King. And we playing goddamn Grand Theft Auto. The same goddamn Grand Theft Auto we've been playing for 12 years. We're already distracted, so I don't want to hear that bullshit. We're scrolling through our phones, whatever. That's right, everything is a damn distraction, shit. And so, yeah, Candy Crush. So, what's the solution? The solution is to breathe and know that you, me, us, I, you, we can't control any of this. This is a larger game plan being played out by people that have more power on this planet than you and I do. And to know that, like I did on my Patreon, I did a card reading a couple weeks ago on this, and it was very clear. Just the news and the media, the rage baiting and the hysteria and the drama is only this summer is gonna really pick up. It's gonna be crazy. Just know that you can't do nothing about it, and to love on yourself, love your family, work towards your goals. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it today. Um, don't get pay attention to what's going on, but don't get enthralled with it. Don't allow this shit to capture your emotions because there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing Trump can do about it. Trump is a scared punk. I am 99.9% sure Trump did not want to pull it. Trump is a punk. But Trump had to do what he had to do. He got a job. You're right, human. Trump looked scared. Trump did look scared when he spoke. What's up, Tierra? That's real talk, though, human. Go and watch Trump's speech. This wasn't stick his chest out, Trump, look what I did. It was, yeah, I bombed Iran today. That nigga Trump looked like he was ready to duck a bullet. Yeah, he thanking God and shit. Trump didn't want to do that. Like, when I say that the president don't run a company, for those who may have objections to that, and for those who don't have objections and agree, let me give you some language to explain this to, because I'm pretty sure all y'all out there deal with people who think that what they see with the government is real. So let me give you some language on how to address that. Go look up what president means. And go look at what the president of a corporation, the president of a foundation, every president has a board. And every president has to answer to a board. And the board ain't just Congress, yo. Presidents have trustees. Presidents have investors. Presidents have investors. This isn't a conspiracy. Every president has investors. Elon Musk has to answer to his investors. He's the richest man in the world. That's what they tell us. He's not, but that's what they tell us. Jeff Bezos has to answer to his investors. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, everybody we see out there that's super wealthy, they still got investors to answer to. And if the investors aren't pleased, what happens? If the investors aren't pleased, what happens? If the board isn't pleased, what happens? Am I making sense, or do I sound like a conspiracy theorist? That's why this law is just a law of correspondence. As above, so below. That's life. If you ever want to check anything, ask yourself, is this thing the same as that? That's what IQ is, comparing things. What doesn't fit? Why would a country that has a president, what else has presidents? Corporations, LLCs. has a treasurer, has a secretary, has a vice, has a Congress, has a Senate, has investors. Dewan, how do people invest in a country? Bonds. Go look up. Go buy a bond. You can be an investor too if you want. California has bonds. Every state has bonds. The country has bonds. You can, if you think I'm lying, if you think I'm being a conspiracy theorist, you can go buy a bond. You can stop listening to me right now and go buy a bond and be an investor in this country. That's how you make it legal. Bonds. Let's take it one step deeper. Someone earlier mentioned China having a lot of money in investing in the United States. Let's go one deeper. Do you know that corporations invest in other corporations? One of the biggest investors in Honda is, guess who? General Motors. One of the biggest investors in Toyota is who? Honda and Ford. One of the biggest investors in Ford is Toyota and Honda. One of the biggest investors, I pulled the cards on this last week visual. It's up on Patreon. I'll put that video up on YouTube probably next week. One of the biggest investors in Apple is Microsoft. Companies and corporations invest in one another. Countries invest in one another. Why? Because you got to keep competition. Companies need their competitors. Good cop, bad cop. Companies play good and bad off of each other so they can all rape and fuck us. You need the illusion of a choice. Because if you buy a Honda instead of a Ford, Ford still wins. Real talk, Terrell, light bulb effect. Yep. Just pay attention to the world that you're in. Countries invest in one another. Companies invest in one another. There are boards, there are trustees, there are governors. It's all the same. See, I can give it to you two ways. I can give it to you spiritually through the cards, or I can give it to you through the books and shit you can verify. Either way it go, as above, so below. But I'm going to do another reading. My next card reading on the country is going to be in July. I always do an annual card reading on July 4th, the country's birthday. So sometime before the 4th of July, we're going to do a reading on this channel. Probably July 2nd or 3rd. We're going to do a reading on this channel of what the next year looks like for the United States of America. That's why I try to tell people all the time. It's not a fight between spirituality and reality. What we see is reality. You need both. You need both. You need the spiritual aspect, and you need the what you can see with your two eyes aspect. And the goal is to fuse the two. Don't ever get so spiritual you're not living in reality. Don't ever get so caught up in reality that you're not trusting your spirit. We need both. But going back to the country, see, I was on point about the Super Bowl, America First, especially in reference to war. Yeah, my Super Bowl reading. Yeah, my Super Bowl reading. We talked about that. This is the TV shows and the movies and the entertainment has been getting us ready for this. That's what this whole Americanism. That's why this whole. That's another reason why domestically this ICE thing is so big. The Latinos didn't read the room. If you notice, Asians are getting swept up too. I saw them, they took one of them Asian rubbing tugs. They're getting swept up too. But the Asians aren't waving Chinese and Indian flags either. They're quietly taking the Asians are quietly taking a punishment because they're letting the United States know that, okay, whatever, we're still on code with you. Yeah, the new Top Gun, yeah. But yeah, the Cubans aren't waving Cuban flags. The Cubans are quietly just taking it. But the Mexicans haven't gotten the memo. The memo is we're in a time of nationalism. Now, if the Mexicans had a plan, have some kind of undercover devious plan to take back California militarily, then okay. But they don't have that. This nigga brought up Elian Gonzalez. That's funny as hell. Do you know how much of a troll I can be? When that Elian Gonzalez thing happened, I was in Yahoo Chat. I changed my Yahoo Chat name like that whole summer to fuck Elian Gonzalez and fuck you too. That was like my Yahoo Chat name. That was like one of my Yahoo Chat names. Like back in when I used to be in Yahoo Chat, trolling like a motherfucker. Cause my main Yahoo Chat name was Shut Your Ass Up Before I Clown You and D's Nuts. Those are my two Yahoo Chat names. But I changed it for like a little bit to, man, fuck you and Elian Gonzalez. That was like my Yahoo Chat name. When I was like, I think I was in high school. I was either in high school or like my first year of college. I was an asshole. I was in college. Come on, I was like 19, 18. Anyway, but anyway, this is a time of nationalism, and you're right. You don't see the Nigeria. A lot of immigrants are just quietly, just taking what they gotta take. The Mexicans, they're not playing their cards right. America is really on America first. And you need the country on that type of agenda if you're going to do wars like this. If you're going to, because Iran ain't fucking around. Iran's not fucking around. Man, this fruit, I got pineapples in here and berries, and this is straight vodka. Just vodka and fruit. This pineapple gonna be so goddamn good. Straight vodka and fruit. Does Iran have sleeper cells? Let me give you my honest answer to that. I don't think so. Like, they probably do, but Iran is not, they're not the terrorist American media has made them out to be. Let me say that. Because if you watch TV in the 90s and the 2000s, especially in 2000s, in the 90s, it was always somebody, and even in the 80s, A-Team, it was always some Iranian extremist that have a bomb vest on. He's gonna run inside of a supermarket and blow himself up. Like, that's not really Iran's get down. Palestine, yeah. The Palestinians do that shit real fast. But that's not Iran's get down. Iran is far more civilized than Western media gives them credit for. So my answer to that is I don't, culturally, I don't see that for Iran. Like I said, Palestine, yeah, they'll throw fucking bomb vests on real fast, and that's more Western propaganda about Iranians. They're far more human than, like, humanitarian than that, graceful. Now, this is where the United States is going to get fucked up. Iran's not going to fold. Although they've gone through different dynastic periods and rulerships, they're still Persian. And part of the reason why they went to the name Iran, let me tell you something real deep, and I meant to say this earlier in the show. Do you know what Iran means? It means Aryan, the land of the Aryans. The original Aryans were the people who occupied that place, black, before Persia, before it became Persia. You got to understand that the thing that makes an Arab, the Arabs as a race got created, when you look at that whole Iraq, Iran, and stuff like that, when the Caucasians came out of the Caucasus Mountains, that area is the first area they started to intermingle and mate with people before they got to Europe. And the Aryans were the people that, not the people that were mixed with the European Caucasians that came out of those mountains in Georgia. The Aryans were the original dark-skinned people, the people of peace, the people who established civilization in that area. The Ishmaelites, yeah. The Aryans are the people who established the civilizations. The Persians are the people who conquered the Aryan, who came later. And that's why in 1925, they petitioned to stop being called Persians and to start being called Iranians, Aryans. they petitioned to be called Aryans. And like everything, white people steal. So since white people steal, Hitler started calling himself the Aryans after the people who established civilizations in that area. This nigga Amir said they better not mess up this Crawford versus Alvarez fight. You stupid. So this is a story that we all need to watch play out, and there's nothing we can do about it. The Anglo-Saxon has been wanting that land since they got the fuck out of Europe. They've been wanting Persia. They look, what they're trying to do is complete the initial goal of World War I. And Persia was just outside of that area. They have made themselves independent from the Ottoman Empire at that point. That was part of the Ottoman Empire, the initial Ottoman Empire, but they made themselves independent from the Ottoman Empire long before that. So we got to understand that when they did World War I, World War II, that was all with plans on at some point getting their hands on Persia. So this is a story that started long before any of us were born. And we're watching an old story play out. We're seeing an old story, something that this Anglo-Saxon has been wanting for a long time. And one thing I gotta respect about them is they're very fucking persistent. Even as his empire in America is falling, they still gotta get Persia. Even as Western Europe, even as their numbers are dying out, they really believe in manifest destiny. Like the manifest destiny doctrine, they believe that. The Discovery Act, these motherfuckers live by that. The doctrine of discovery. Go look up manifest destiny. They really believe that. So to them, this is part of manifest destiny. And hell, we lost. Hey, look, we can talk all about the FBA shit we want, our American Indian ancestry, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, we lost our land to these people. Even, okay, you're a Pan-African, you want to talk about Africa, you lost your shit to them too. They control everything under your fucking feet. Same story. So we need to be figuring out how we gonna get our shit together. Because at some point, this white boy is gonna have to pay for the shit that he's done to this planet. And we gotta make sure that we're in position to run what God gave us. Who's gonna run the satellites? Who's gonna run the water maintenance facilities? Who's gonna run parks and recreation? Who's gonna run the education system? And the answer to that who is gonna be, the only way that's gonna be run efficiently is if everyone in here, me, you, all of us, maximize our talents, and we play our role on this planet. Part of my role is to run my mouth and goddamn talk to y'all. I got other shit that I do too. You know? All right, man. You have a good one, brother. Yes, sir. You got it. You too, man. So, like, if you there are people out there that got expertise. If you're an expert welder or plumber, it's your job to really grow that, teach that to the next generation, give back, show the next generation how to, because somebody in that next generation might be the one that's going to run your cities, be the plumbing department. You know, we need that. We all have a role. Like we all have, like off the internet, I literally do anti-racism training programs for major corporations. You know, I literally have other things that I do off the internet that I don't bring to the internet. You know, I work with kids, and I'm working with some kids now that are going to be going to the NFL, and we talk about how our kids' minds need to be at when they get there. One of my offline companies, what I do, I just started this recently. I got my first my first client about a month ago. NFL prospects, teaching them and showing them what's going on. You know, so you know it's I have my Black American Music Family Tree Foundation. My foundation is officially open. I'm just going. If you want, please hit me up. Email me info@dewannb.com if you want to donate. It's just that I have to wait to get my final approval letter from the IRS to give you your donation certificate. I'm about 4 or 5 months out from that. But my foundation is geared towards what I teach to you guys, taking this around the world. I've already taught at Sony Music. I've taught at Top Golf, and I've done a few schools already, you know? So to me, that's what it's about to me. And that's why I read cards, to help people with their vision. And I have a book, I gotta find where that book is. But one of my mods, I don't think she's here tonight, Star, when I wrote my first book, she told me this about a year ago. But person number one, if you know my mod in here, Star, the first book I wrote was a small reader. It wasn't even a long book. It was just a reader. And I still have it around if you want to buy it. But it's a reader called No Time to Waste. And it's a method that I developed when I was working with kids on how to find your goals. This is my approach for people who may not be interested in card reading. If card reading is like out of there for you, I get it. So I have other methods that don't involve cards. And in that book, it really it teaches you how to find your gift that God gave you, or gifts. And one of my mods in here, when I first started this channel, she bought that book, and she went from being, I think, an LVN to a full-on registered nurse. Like it was, I wrote that book, and then I did a training course on how to apply it. And I literally have a mod in here that you guys can talk to that's now a full-blown RN after reading that book. And so I can give it to you that way, or I could pull your cards, or I could do both. Yeah, the book is called No Time to Waste. So like, And I got that. And the reason why I'm on this mission is because I went through the whole point of not knowing what it is and, teaching, running my mouth with these kids, but not having nothing of substance to give them. But that's my role, you know? But everybody has their own role. And through people living out their role, that's where you get experts. Because if you have 100 kids do one thing, some are gonna quit, most are gonna do pretty good, and there are gonna be a handful that are exceptional. And out of that handful that are exceptional, those are the ones you put in positions to run things. If you have a kid that's like enamored with electronics, breaking things down, putting them back together, then put that kid, get them hands to working, put them in machine shop, wood shop, teach them how to electronics and go with it. Some, they're going to become great mechanics. Some are going to become great body shop technicians. Others are going to become great mechanical engineers. And out of the few, and then from there, some are going to become inventors. Because one thing about our little black kids, their minds, we're the people who invent everything. It's not just music. The issue is numbers. When they have all of our kids focus on basketball, football, we take talent that could be really applied other places, and it's kind of just pushed into a sport. Think about Granville T. Woods, the person that invented the telegraph. He was 7 feet tall. The person that invented the roller coaster, Granville T. Woods, and the fax machine was 7 feet tall. Imagine if he was raised today. Them niggas would have been teaching him how to get a 45-inch vertical, and we wouldn't have no goddamn telegraph because niggas would have been telling him you got to play basketball. You 7 feet. Forget the fact that this motherfucker's a genius. Matter of fact, we might not ever even find out he's a genius because we're too busy trying to tell him he needs to learn how to shoot a hook shot. And that's why I stopped coaching basketball. After a while, I felt like I sounded stupid telling these kids they need to be shooting 200 free throws a day and 1,000 jump shots a day, knowing good and hell well at best they're going to make it to Division I college and they may play in Europe, versus if they spend just as much of that time learning how to be a goddamn tech engineer, they'll make 5 times what they make as an NBA pro. And they'll make that money until they fucking die versus make it until they're 30. And I was like, you know what, DeJuan, you sound stupid telling these kids to do all that, man. It's just fucking, Now, if the kid had a chance of actually making it, then yeah. But these kids I was working with, they weren't. These new kids that I'm working with now, these niggas can make it. So I'm going to tell them what it takes because they actually got a chance. But most of them kids ain't got no fucking chance. You just living out your dad's vicarious dreams. I remember, quick story. I remember I was around, I heard a story from I think it was Baron Davis when I was up in San Francisco. Was it Baron? I forgot which NBA player. I think it was Baron. Don't quote me. But I remember him saying that like he went and did like an event, up in San Francisco with like all those tech people. And when he walked in, this dude had like an $80 million deal. He said when he walked in the room, he realized real fast that he was the brokest person in that room. Now, if black people invented the light bulb, the cotton gin, the telegraph, if we invented all these things, the gas mask, what would happen if we put a basketball work ethic with our children into engineering? We really probably wouldn't even need nobody's job because we just invent some shit and create jobs. Like our kids are that great. Like you put our kids in tech, they don't whatever. Like when you become a specialist at something, you're not applying for shit. People are looking for you. And we're the bloodline that invented the elevator. We're the bloodline that invented the refrigerator. We're the bloodline that invented all of these great things in America. But we're shooting free throws instead. Yeah, robots take over a lot of those jobs too. But we're the people that invent things. If you keep inventing things and innovating, you're going to be ahead of AI. You're going to be ahead of the robots. Clinton said, Ryan Coogler said he brought his work ethic from football to filmmaking. Yeah, you can do that. And that's one thing I did do when I coached. I'm glad you brought that up, Clinton. I would always teach my kids to apply this, how to apply what they learn in basketball to life. If you have coaches that can teach you a context as to why you hoop or play football or whatever, and how to apply those skills to other areas, you're going to be fine. Problem is, 90% of these coaches is dumb as fuck, and you're not going to get that kind of game. That's the problem. If you know how to flip it, you'll be good. But that's something that these new kids that I'm working with, that I'll be helping them with. Teaching them how to flip that. Because one thing I would always teach my kids when I coach, I would never tell them they're not going to make it. I would say, okay, when you do make it to the NBA, you play 10 years. That means you're finished by the time you're 32. You're probably going to die at 85. What are you going to do to make sure the money you made through 32 lasts to you 85? You have to have some kind of skill set that's going to bring in more money, because you're not going to be able to save it and live off of a savings for 60 years. I'll tell my kids all that. No matter how much money you make in the NBA, you're not going to be able to live on the savings for 50 years. So even when you make it, you got to realize you got to find something else to do. And that's how I'd always frame it to my kids. See, you guys remember the superstars. It's only the way NBA contracts are structured. They're only on a 12-man roster. There are only 2 people making 20 plus million a year. Those other 10 guys on the list, they making 500,000 a year, 1.2, 2.6, 7.8, and that $7 million deal is probably only going to be for 3 years. After that $7 million deal, they're probably going to be forced to be signed back for the league minimum. That salary cap is real. People, when it's this thing, when people think NBA money, they think Steph Curry, they think LeBron. When in actuality, Steph Curry and LeBron's contract are the extreme exception, even in the NBA. Let me give you an example. One of the kids, not kids, one person I know, my homeboy used to play. He played for the Clippers. We in the locker room. Friends and family room. That dude was getting paid league minimum. League minimum at the time was about $1.2 million a year. In that same locker room, Blake Griffin was getting $15 million a year. DeAndre Jordan was getting like $12 million a year, and Chris Paul was getting like $20 million a year. So basically, this player's contract was 1 month of Chris Paul's salary, and not even a whole month. This dude's whole salary for the season was, because NBA players get paid every 2 weeks, was one Chris Paul paycheck. Chris Paul's going to get, depending on how he has his paychecks divided, because in the NBA, you can divide it between 24 months, 24 payments. You can amortize your payments over 12 months, or you can have your payments start in September and end in June, and you have the choice. First paycheck is September 15th, and NBA players get paid every 2 weeks. So if Chris Paul has his paycheck amortized from September to June, that means one Chris Paul paycheck was this dude's salary for the year. That's how much of a disparity in money. And there's way more people in the NBA making that $1 million minimum than Chris Paul's making 20. So even when you make the NBA, you ain't getting no generational wealth. You're going to have something to do after you retire. What's up, Eloquence? So you got to look at it on that level, even when you do make it. Making it the way pay scale is structured, you might not make it like that. Now these have been sitting in vodka now for 2 hours. It's probably good. Ooh. Ooh, that was good. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to this war. I had 2 topics I was going to talk about. I didn't even get to the second topic. I thought I was going to talk about that first topic for like 30 minutes and then get to the second topic. So back to what we're talking about with this war. This war is a story. Appreciate it, old gamer. This war is a story that started long before any of us were alive. So, all right, Sinister, yeah. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. Just when we done, I'm going to change the title. But, yeah, yeah. So That's the big thing. We're not, when it comes to this war, that's why we got to go back to just staying out of it. We got to get our shit together, man. Become an expert in something. Get great at something, at whatever it is that you do, at whatever makes you feel good, at whatever tickles you, whatever you feel like you can do for free. Get great at that and sell it. Make your money. You got to just focus in on yourself. I appreciate that, Daniel and Tukey. But yeah, we have been saying peace. I remember Belle Bill DeVoe on Arsenio doing poison, the ending poison with peace in the Middle East, and we out of here. But there we go. I thought I been had it on subscribers mode. Human been working as a mod. Appreciate it. But going back to what we were talking about, this war, we can't. I don't know the overall end goal. I don't know why. I don't know why they believe in manifest destiny. I don't know what's the end goal of getting Iran and the whole Middle East. I don't understand. That's above my pay grade. I don't know, but I do know this is what they do. This is what they're doing, and whatever the end goal is, that has more to do with whoever designs this universe, whoever designs Earth. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm totally okay with knowing that I don't understand the reason. I don't have to know. Hey, that's right, Dexter. They wicked. It's as simple as that. Right. Like, evil has, remember this, people, evil has every much of a right to Earth as we do, as good. I'm gonna say we do. Evil has every bit as much of a right to Earth as good. Without evil, you don't know what's good. You know? You need hot and you need cold. You need rain and you need sunshine. It's all part of this human experience. Right, Street Nasty? Frankie Beverly told us joy and pain are like sunshine and rain. You need joy, you need pain. That's part of the law of the universe. You need positive and negative. Go look at a battery. Yin and yang, yep. You said Israel is in the Middle East, but it's part of the European Union. You're right about that. That's good. It's a good thing to think about. But evil has every bit as much of a right to this earth as positive. Go look at a car battery. Go look at your battery. Every battery has a positive and a negative. Atoms, protons, neutrons. All of life is built off of an atom. Protons and neutrons. Everything is positive and negative. So whatever's happening is what's supposed to happen. And the best we can do is have our community. Yep, just bullshit. Evil. Did Skip Scarborough write that song? That song Evil. That's on the Head to the Sky album. Earth and the Fire. Skip Scarborough, Masquerade. That song on the man. Earth and Fire's man. They could teach so much. The whole world is a masquerade. Y'all know what I was jamming to last night, and I'm about to jam to again. I'm about to put some more. Last night, the best song, the best album, in my opinion, to bring in the summer is All in All by Earth and Fire. Man, last night after I did my Billboard review, and go to my Patreon. On Patreon, we did a Billboard review, number 75 through 20. We reviewed the top 75 artists. We did 75 through 20. Tomorrow, we're doing 20 through number 1. So tomorrow here, it's only going to be live on YouTube, and I'm going to take it right off YouTube. It's going to go to Patreon. So if you're looking for the video that I did yesterday on the Billboard review, that's only on Patreon. I played music. YouTube don't let me play music, so it's on Patreon exclusively, all right? So go to Patreon if you want to see my Billboard review, my review of the Billboard top 75 R&B artists. All right. And that's what Dick says on Shroom. That's what I was on. I was on Shrooms last night, and I listened to All in All, top to bottom. First time I did that in a while. Everything about All in All is summertime. From fantasy to Be Ever Wonderful to the two musicals, Running and Magic Mind. Especially Magic Mind. These are summertime, like bring in the summer. And then I played Sun Goddess. Nigga, I was on Shrooms last night. Nigga, I was playing Earth and Fire. I was playing, who else? I played a lot of Roy Ayers. Brandy Younger just came out with a new album when she playing that harp. Man, that harp sounded so goddamn beautiful last night. Dexter Robinson, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say this because you do Shrooms. Man, I was listening to Brandy Younger play that harp because she has a new album that just dropped. Man, I started to shed a fucking tear. The music was so beautiful. I'm listening to the harp, and I was like, this is beautiful. Nigga, I had one tear. I had that one Mariah Carey tear coming on my right side. My left eye was dry. My right eye had the Mariah Carey tear. I was like, do you hear that? Nigga, hell yeah. I was listening to her play that. I listened to her new album top to bottom last night on some Shrooms. Nigga, that motherfucking harp sounded so motherfucking beautiful. It's called Gadabout Season. It just dropped last week, June 13th. Brandy, Brandee, Younger. I saw her this past Sunday at the Hollywood Bowl. She played with the Soul Rebels on that harp. Oh my God, that shit was fucking beautiful. I know who Moonchild is, but they white. I like Moonchild. They did a song with Jill Scott. I first turned on the Moonchild in 2001. They did a song with Jill Scott on Jill Scott's Experience, her live album. When she did it, she had a song, I don't want to go to work today. I just want to stay home and play video games. I want to chill for real, don't you know? Working for something, trying to get nothing. Go look up that song by Jill Scott called I Don't Want to Go to Work Today. I'd rather stay home and play video games. I can't think of the name. I think it's called I Don't Want to Go to Work Today. But that's Jill Scott and Moonchild. But yeah, Moonchild, at the end of the day, they're European. I don't want to sound racist, but I can only take so much European music. It's too flat. And sonically, it's beautiful. It is. I'm not gonna trip. I'm not gonna give them. They're expert musicians. They're talented. I'm not gonna take away from them. But stylistically, is I'm a nigga. I need pocket. I need that. You know, I need that groove. And I can only do it like, if it ain't got a groove, I give it like 15 minutes. But I need that, you know, that thing that make you look like you smelling sour mustard. Just, I need that. I'm a nigga. Now, this is a low key, I'm gonna tell you who can give you that. Instead of Moonchild, look up this band called Freelance. They're out of New York. Freelance. They dropped the album about 7 years ago, and they have a new one that's getting ready to finally come out again. And what was crazy was, when I was at the Hollywood Bowl last week, one of the members was playing on stage. Freelance wasn't playing, but one of the members of Freelance is playing with a different band. He's on piano. Chad, his name is Chad. He's a pianist for Freelance. And this nigga recognized me from the stage. Like, he was on the stage, and I didn't recognize, I know his music sonically, but I didn't know how he looked. And after they got done, they came to where I was sitting, and I was like, Dewan, we saw you sitting here. We wanted to say what's up. I was like, I know I'm a fat nigga. I know I'm 6'2", but you niggas saw me from the stage? That shit was weird, yo. That shit was fucking weird. But it was dope because I love Freelance. Go look them up. I've been a fan of their music since the pandemic. I got turned on to them like around 2020 during the pandemic. And they only had one album, and I love that album. And there's some brothers out of New York. But that was a moment. But yeah, I like Terrace Martin. I love Alex Isley. Like, it's a lot of good artists out there. Yeah, add Freelance. They only got one album out, but they have a new one that they're working on right now. I think they just dropped a single. Like, I love Freelance. Tank and the Bangers dropped a dope one. For the I'm telling y'all right now, I did this. I read it. It's crazy. Like, I read this in my cars 3 years ago. Somebody had asked me what direction music is going, and I said music is going in that meditative space. And there's a lot of good meditative, relaxing music out there right now. I gave you guys Brandy Younger. If you want to relax and just vibe out, get that Brandy Younger. Also, Joseph Lineberg is Joseph, Josef. Joseph with an F. Joseph Lineberg, Leimberg. Either IE or EI. I'm dyslexic, so I'll be forgetting IE or EI. But Joseph Lineberg. The album is called Mystic Journey. Get the album Mystic Journey. And these are all albums that's going to have you in that. They're going to inspire your imagination. Especially if you like, Dexter, you say you like Brandy Younger, you'll like Joseph Lineberg. You'll like Joseph Lineberg. It's just dope as fuck. Because it's very futuristic. It's very, be in a dark room, burn some incense, and just vibe out. That's what it's for. Giovanni says long ass songs. Like, yeah, the songs are long. The songs like some of them songs like 12, 13 minutes long. I played the drums for one of those songs, but my cut didn't make it. But I promoted the album anyway because it's a great album. The song that I didn't make the album. But I heard what he was doing in that studio. I was like, yeah. But the reason why we have those long songs is to expand your imagination, expand your mind. You got to understand, like, the hip hop 2-bar loop, the biggest damage hip hop did on us, it's not the lyrics. We've always had questionable lyrics in our music. B.B. King got a song called Sweet 16. I mean, that's not B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf. Sweet 16 is a blues classic. She was only sweet. She was just 16 years old. But she give me a world of hurt. Like, music has always had questionable lyrics. Hip-hop ain't the first. The biggest damage hip-hop has done to us has been the 2-bar loop. The music just in the repetitive trance. Dun 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 dun, and it's just over and over and over again. Dun 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 dun. No bridge, no intro, no coda, no outro, no breath, no crescendo, no decrescendo, no breaks. None of those elements that make a song strong, that give a song breath. It's just a loop. What does that do to your mind? If your music is just in a loop, ask yourself, what does that do to your mind? It boxes it in. It boxes your mind in. It boxes in your consciousness. It boxes in how you think. It makes you very lyric and very, how can I say this? Very literal. Versus when music is long, when it has breath. Because think about life. A crescendo is when the music goes up. A decrescendo is when it goes down. Just think about one day in life. You might wake up sad. 2 hours later, you feel great. 30 minutes later, you don't feel good. 2 hours after that, you feel like whatever. 20 minutes later, you're tired. 2 hours later, you get a burst of energy. Then you go to thinking about this bill, thinking about that bill. What am I going to wear tomorrow when I go to this meeting? All of these thoughts. Your life is constant motion, keeps changing. That's the music. Music is a sonic interpretation of life. So when you have live instruments, stuff like that, you're now emulating life and giving a consciousness to life. Life isn't quantized. Life isn't perfect. Life isn't one level. Life is dynamic. Music is supposed to be not dynamic. Oh yeah, Street Ass. He said, "Look at California" by Frankie Beverly and Mays. Yeah, that's a nice long song, especially that first part. I remember my dad. Do you know when my dad turned me on? That's why I love my dad. I was with my dad today. I love my dad. That's my guy right there. My dad is my guy. I love my father. I was with my father today. But I got turned on to Look at California. I was like in high school. I was playing the drums and everything. My dad was like, okay, we was going to Vegas or coming home from Vegas. And my dad pulled out in his tape deck, he pulled out his Frankie Beverly and Mays and he put in, and we were driving from Vegas back to LA. And my mom and my sister would always sit in the back seat. I would always sit in the front seat with my dad. My dad would be driving, I'd be in the passenger. He was like, pull out that Frankie Beverly and Mays. And just as we're leaving Vegas and we're going, and I remember just as we passed Pistol Pete's and we're coming back into California, the sun, it's like 6 or 7 in the afternoon. So the sun is on the horizon. And my first time hearing that song, Look at California, was when my dad played it. And we were coming back from Vegas to California. And we're in the desert, and it's just these, and Frankie's, the rolling hills seem to do something for you. That part is on, and it's just mountains. And that's my first memory of that song, was listening to that song with my dad as we're coming back into California from Vegas. You say you never been to Vegas? Oh, shit, if you grew up in L.A., Vegas is like your summer home. That's what's up, Street Nasty Entertainment. Yeah, my dad, that's my guy right there. My dad, that's my guy. That's my guy right there. That is my guy. And so, yeah. But if you grew up in LA, man, Vegas, man, that shit used to be so goddamn cheap. My parents had us in Vegas twice a year since I was like 9, 8. Well, my first time going to Vegas when I was like 6, in 1986, 85, 86. I was like 6 or 7, 6. My first time going to Vegas. Yeah, I was 6. It was 1987. I remember. No, it was 86. I was 5. And then every year after that, I remember being in Vegas when the Lakers beat the Detroit Pistons in Game 7 in 1988. My mom and my dad were some hella Laker fans. So we drove to Vegas, and Vegas, it was like around the same time my birthday. My birthday was this past Tuesday. It was around the same time. So many times my Lakers won championships on my birthday or around my birthday. And we went to Vegas. I remember it was raining, and it was like lightning and shit. And when the Lakers beat the Pistons in 88, I just remember my mom opening the window and like, the Lakers, we the champions, we the champs. And it's raining and it's thundering. We like, Mama, goddamn, it's thundering outside. Close the window. I just remember my mom and my dad. I just remember my dad left LA at time. He was like, all right, the Laker game come on at 7. And my dad left LA at a time so we can get to our hotel in time to watch the Lakers play. And I remember the Lakers beating the Pistons in 1988 from Circus Hotel in Las Vegas. I was like 7. That was like right around my 7th birthday. Yeah, too. You remember LA? Cause like that drive to LA Vegas only 4 hours. Like the 15, that's nothing. I love that drive. I love driving to Vegas. I just do it. Like me, I don't care about Vegas like I used to. I've been so many times, and Vegas has gotten expensive. Corporations kill Vegas. Vegas is a lot more honest when the mob ran it. When the mob ran Vegas, shit, you can get a buffet for $6.99. You can get a free show. Circus had a goddamn a circus act every hour on the hour. Nigga, when corporations took over, they started charging for parking. A buffet is now $200 goddamn dollars. A show is $200,000. Fuck Vegas now. You're right. If you win, a corporation says it's a machine error, right? And what you gonna do about it? Nothing. Because every lawyer you try to hire, they'd rather get a job at that casino, so they're not gonna help you. Yeah. But my memories of our childhood vacations, my parents' vacations, my parents didn't make a whole lot of money, but Vegas is right down the street. So every summer, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and my grandmother when she was alive, we going to Vegas. Sometimes twice a year. We go like on winter break and we go on summer break to Vegas. Stay at Circus. Up until when I turned 12, they were like, okay, Dewan, you're old enough now. We ain't doing no more Circus. I was like 11. But I had to do it because of they had all the goddamn Circus had the best arcade. If you was in Vegas in the 80s, you know Circus had the best arcade. And so, but I remember seeing Vegas built. Like, I remember seeing the Mirage be built. I remember seeing New York, the Mirage. Let's check my Vegas memory. Chat room, help me out. Let's check my Vegas memory. The Mirage was built in 88 near the corner of Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard next to the Caesars Palace. And Treasure Island, I think it was 94, 95, MGM Grand was 94, 93. Because my parents, we stayed in every hotel when it was being built. So when the MGM Grand was built, we stayed there. I think that was 894 for the MGM, or 93 for the MGM Grand. Luxor was 96. Excalibur was 89. We stayed at the Excalibur the first year it opened. It was either 89 or 90 for Excalibur. We stayed at New York when that opened in 96. We stayed at, I think Planet Hollywood was the Aladdin. It had got knocked down and rebuilt. I think it got rebuilt in 98. I remember the Caesar's Palace remodel when they took the boxing ring out and took them ugly ass cages off the Caesar's Palace. We stayed there. I remember when the Flamingo got remodeled. We stayed there. When Bally's got remodeled, when Bally's turned from MGM to Bally's, I remember that. I remember seeing the Monte Carlo get built in like 97. That's now called the Park MGM. I remember we stayed at the Hacienda summer of 99, and the Hacienda got blown up. No, we stayed there, like summer 99. The Hacienda got blown up in 99, New Year's Eve, and that's now the Mandalay Bay. I remember seeing the Mandalay Bay opened up in 2001. Stayed there. The Bellagio was 2000. 2000 for the Bellagio. The Wynn was like 2006 or no, like 2005, and the Encore was 2008, 9. I remember the Venetian getting built, staying there. But now Vegas ain't shit. It was more honest when the Mafia ran it. Vegas is trash now. Now, Vegas was not always trash. Shit. And then, when I got in my 20s, shit, me and my boys, when I got in my 20s, shit, nigga. Me and my boys would be hanging out. Sometimes it'd be like 5 o'clock on a Saturday. And we'd be like, y'all want to go party in Vegas? Nigga, let's go. Nigga, we leave LA 6 o'clock. Get to Vegas 9. Check in the hotel. And party till like 5 in the morning on Sunday. Sleep. Get in the car and come right back to LA. I did that shit plenty of times in my 20s. Hell, you know how many times? And every now and again, my wife and I will still do this. Man, get up at like 7 in the morning, go to Vegas, leave LA about 8, get to Vegas at 12, gamble, hit the buffet up, drink, leave Vegas at like 7, and be right back at home in LA by 11. Nigga, y'all know how many times I've done that in my life? I did that shit just last year. That's one thing about living in LA, nigga. Let's go, nigga. Let's go. But when me and my boys was like 22, 25, nigga, all we needed was a notion. Y'all want to go to Vegas? Let's go. This nigga said hookers and different selling ass for Popeyes. I've been on here 2 hours. Man, let me get the fuck out of here. Tomorrow, we're going to finish off the top numbers 20 through 1 for the R&B top 75. We're going to do that tomorrow live, but the replay will only be available on Patreon. It will be taking off of YouTube immediately. So even if you join it late, you're going to miss it. All right? We'll talk about that Jim Jones shit another time. Appreciate y'all. Kevin, Ball Trip, Street Nasty, Purple Soul, all y'all. Dexter. Y'all have a good one.